Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of Camcast. Just fixing it up a little bit there. Anyway, I am your host, Cam, and as you can see, have a little kind of different scenery today. But yeah, so thank you all to those of you with your continued support that continue to support the channel. And hope this video finds you all doing well. And let's dive right into it. So, of course, today, it is in the holiday season, and I want to wish you all a great holiday season. And of course, I also hope that you all are enjoying the holiday season so far. I am myself, and yeah. So today, got a little festive. Got your silver suit here with your white shirt, French cuffs, cufflinks, red tie, of course, silver full suit, some red socks, and some brown penny loafers. Usually, typically, when it comes to like the holiday season segment or whatever, well, not segment, but as far as like clothing wise, I do a lot of rotations when it comes to shoes. I wouldn't really say like I have like a lot of them, but like as far as you may have like maybe 3 or 4 pair, to where it might be, of course, maybe some penny loafers, of course, like depending on, you might be going to like a holiday party or whatever, or of course just like more of something to wear maybe with some corduroys or something like that. Then you have, of course, your brown Oxfords, and then you have, which kind of the usual, but then you might find yourself wearing black Oxfords or shoes a little bit more. And then, of course, you have boots or dress boots that you might also throw on from time to time. And I also have my little lapel up here. Not lapel. There are many names for these things. Depending on who you talk to, you might get different kinds. I call them label pins, but other people call them notch lapels. So it's pretty unique, right? Anyway, so yeah, you also may notice that I have kind of a different little speaker system right now. It's a bit more surround. You may, again, of course, see the mic in front again for those that may or may not have noticed. But yeah, so just kind of to explain that part to you, just in case anybody was a little curious or confused about it. But yeah, so with anything that we ever talk about, any type of conversations or topics that you maybe want further detail or further communication or comments on, please leave a comment below, and I'll be sure to return basically to your question or comment. So yeah, but anyway, once again, happy holidays. And yeah, also another thing about that I've come across a lot would be kind of how suiting really works when it comes to the colder months. So nowadays, of course, the temperature is fluctuating back and forth. With that being said, you would be surprised how it might get a little frustrating. It took me a while to kind of get the hang of what type of suiting garments or what you would actually put on which type of days. So I kind of got the hang of it a little bit. It can be frustrating, but it's pretty cool. Top coats or pea coats, which is my favorite one. I like to wear that a lot. I actually kind of even developed basically a reputation for the pea coat. But yeah, so you have those. You have sweater vests, long sleeve vests. I prefer like the jersey like sweater vests a little more. But I tend to also wear the long sleeve one too. You also have the quarter zip. I don't really wear those too much with blazers, but I do wear them, and occasionally I may put on a blazer on top of, depending on where I'm going, things like that. And also you have gloves. So keep all those things in mind. And as I mentioned before, with the boots or dress boots, if they're not, I don't really see them that often, but it is still a style choice and an option to go with depending on how much you like boots. So yeah, so Today, what we're really going to be talking about and discussing about is just giving, the season of giving, basically. Giving, giving, giving. So, of course, there are many multiple ways of giving, as there are many multiple ways of doing a lot of things. And one thing that most of us can work on, I actually normally do it. It's kind of really my thing. I do enjoy giving people compliments, seeing smiles on people's faces. However, I think that it should also be something that's promoted because, well, when I was growing up back in school, of course, y'all know how much I like to go back to my school days. One thing that we learned a lot, well, of course, on top of the rule, treat others the way you want to be treated, also separate from that was basically just the idea of if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Now, of course, some people tend to probably choose the route of insults or whatever, or which people may, I guess, call passive aggression, to give somebody or express their emotion or express their feeling about what somebody else is doing. But that also leads me to my next point about comparison. Now, I watched a short video about this also, like on from someone else on YouTube, and I actually reached out to that person through their channel about kind of going more in depth about that. And that was just a thing. Like, that was just the thing. I was telling them that I kind of agreed with the content that they were basically placing out there for us to kind of, as they put it down, for us to pick back up about the whole, like, comparing yourself. And sometimes it's a good thing to do so. It might even help you learn some things about yourself, which is never a bad thing. But the thing about it is that when you're doing it, you have to consider the other person's feelings too. So I guess you kind of speak more from a rationale standpoint, but that's kind of just what you have to do. You know, everybody has their own life to live, and everybody's trying to live their own life, or at least most people are trying to live their own life. And that's not an insult to anybody for any type of reason. It's just saying, you know, sometimes, you know, people just make their choices. So what I'm basically saying is that when you're doing that, sometimes even if you probably make like a passive aggressive comment or something like that, at least if the person, if you kind of sense that, we all have our senses. If a person, if you sense that they may have not enjoyed the comment or what have you, at least especially if it was supposed to be a joke, at least make sure that they understand that it was one, you know? So, I mean, like I said, if you don't really have anything, you know, nice to say, just don't say it at all, or at least try to present it in a better way. But, and of course, I get it. People do have ulterior motives, and some people might ask for certain things. But you also have the whole killing with kindness concept, which I encourage people to practice very often as well. So yeah, but basically, this should be a time or a point in time of the year, as of course the year is winding down, where we should end, you know, kind of in the year on a high note. Just practice giving compliments, basically, even to those that may even give you insults, because hey, you know, sometimes insults are compliments, so as twisted as that sounds. But yeah, so that's pretty much that. And I would say, of course, once again, I thank you all for continuing to support my channel. I'm actually still doing some other experiments with some different stores, kind of going through like the different feelings of, see, I like to read like the tags on the inside to kind of compare and contrast like the different feelings, like if two different shirts or two different jackets basically say the same percentages of a certain type of fabric, then I like to go even further as to what exactly that means, because this shirt may feel different from this shirt. But it kind of teaches you different things too while you're kind of exploring, well, I guess you would say exploring between like different places, different type of shirts, even with the socks sometimes. So the shoes, and these are not all things that I actually purchase. Some of these things might just be, experiments that I may do while I'm in the store or whatnot, or even sometimes online while I'm looking at them. I may go and pull up three different places of three different similar shoes and compare the material that was used to make them. You'll be surprised what you might find. So yeah, I kind of dabble in that from time to time, and even if maybe I get maybe one or two pairs in a year, like, then what I'll probably do is, if I saw something that I might have captured or scored or whatever, then I'll go back and I'll compare that to this. Also, by the way, joggers, and I'm not really just talking about like sweatpants, but like joggers, like, I guess I want to say nylon and spandex, or I really want to say polyester, but I don't think that that's in them. And of course, there's different types of joggers, but yeah, joggers is one thing that I'm also kind of promoting just a little bit for those who actually want to go check those out, and those of you who actually might already be big fans of joggers. I wear those pretty often, usually kind of for lounging purposes, things like that. So just kind of giving you a little bit of, background and things like that. But yeah, so also speaking of that, when we talk about diversity in the holiday season, or between, even it could be even considered like a New Year's resolution, even if you want to make it that, try to do that if you would like. Maybe somebody or a person that you don't know, or, well, I wouldn't really say a person that you don't know, but like, well, it can be if you want, but somebody that might even see life a little differently than you do, if you will. Give them a compliment, maybe even give them a gift, kind of just see where things go. Communication is one of the most valuable skills that we can acquire, honestly, in a lifetime. And that's just my opinion. Somebody else's opinion may be a little different. But I think sometimes we may confuse what communication really is. Sometimes communication, we look at it as basically being able to speak well and speak clearly. I think those are kind of like more of, they're a bit of the elements or the setting and composition of good communication. But that's one side of communication. I believe that there is kind of like other sides of communication, such as like just the listening part. You have to be able to, especially if you're communicating with someone that just looks at life a little differently, make sure we're actually considering the opinions of the opposing views, because really everybody, I don't really look at it as people having, how do you say this? I don't really view life as people being wrong, because in life, everybody kind of goes through situations. And I don't really think anybody should be discredited for their opinions, in my opinion. However, the one place where you may be considered discredited is whenever you refuse to give something else, a thought or whatever. Because, like I said, people come from different places. So whether it could be social, economic, they come from different places. So we have to kind of consider, okay, well, I may not agree with this, but however, it's still not wrong because, I mean, that's them. So, and there really, I'm not going to say that there is no such thing as a wrong answer. However, that's kind of where the respect comes in. And that's kind of another thing that I'm talking about too whenever it comes to communication, is that communication also involves a certain level of respect that you also should place not only just when you're listening to others, but also on yourself. See, others that you might be communicating with, they may wind up losing a little bit of respect, or you're just exhibiting less respect for yourself by not presenting the same respect for them as they speak, if that kind of makes a little sense. So, in other words, basically, if I'm talking to you, but the whole time I'm disrespecting you and I'm saying all these kinds of things and this, that, and the third, or, bringing up a lot of, disrespectful things while I'm doing this, I'm really not hurting anyone but myself, because at the end of the day, I'm lessening my value to this person or for this cause, for myself. So I'm diminishing, that's kind of, it's like diminishing marginal returns. It's an economic term, basically, where like, it's kind of like whenever you eat or something, like your hunger is going to lessen because you're putting food in your stomach, right? So basically, the more you take from and the more you kind of lower what it is that you're saying, or kind of low, because the more how you disrespect or say things in a certain way, the more it kind of like no one is really too as concerned as to your point of view or perspective on something, because at the end of the day, you're bringing less respect to your perspective. Now, that that's kind of more on you. They don't have to view it that way, but when you do go that route, then that is what you wind up doing to yourself. So, and when that does happen, that's something that you have to accept and understand, to where if you continue in that path, things, you may not ever become understood. If you're feeling that way, that you're not understood, well, you never will actually become understood, because it's going to become, you're building up a gate to allow people to really truly understand what you're saying. What you're saying is going to become less interesting to others, because it can become so offensive. So, yeah. So keep those things in mind as we're, of course, enjoying holiday parties, things like that, spending time with family and friends, reflecting on the year, and of course, just being surrounded by others as we hop into this next new year. But yeah, so whenever we get there, we will see one another again. And once again, please continue to stay updated on my videos. And yeah, so I'm going to be rocking with y'all until then. But without further ado, thank y'all and continue to stay sharp.